Hello and welcome to today's tutorial where we're going to be creating buttons and hopefully dynamic buttons. So let's get going. I'll start off with the simple version of the button and then we'll go to a more dynamic version. So the first thing that we want to do is have our editor pulled up and our references, and I like to have ChatGPT pulled up as well. And we'll just do a circle. And put it like right in the center of the canvas and make it 100 pixels wide. So we're just going to hard code this for right now. Let's go ahead and change the color mode to HSB, hue, saturation, and brightness. And then to make our button prettier, we'll do no stroke. And fill with, I think is 200 blue, I can't remember. And then we'll do a pastel, like a low saturated, and then high brightness. Yeah, so a little baby blue button, perfect. So we'll change our background color, and instead of having 220 here, we'll just have the C variable. And C will equal in our setup function. We'll do color and whatever color you want C to be at first. So I guess white is good enough. So we'll do 0 for the hue, 0 for the saturation, and 100 for the brightness. And create a global variable of C. So we've created the variable C, we've declared that it's going to be a color of white, and then we implemented it here in the background. So we want C to turn red if this is pressed. So let's go down to the bottom and create a mouse pressed function. So here, let's just do that real quick. Function mouse pressed. So here, if the mouse is pressed anywhere, then whatever we put inside of this function is going to work. So we just want the background to turn red, so we can do C equals color. 0 is red for the hue, and then 100 for saturation and brightness. So now anywhere we click, the background is going to turn red. So we don't want to just click anywhere. We want to make sure we just click on our circle. So we have to put in like parameters for this event to happen. And so inside of function mouse press, we'll just do an if statement. If mouse X is greater than or equal to this point here. And I go over this in the infographic tutorial as well. But if mouse X, which is, this is my mouse, if it travels across the canvas and hits this point here, then I want mouse pressed to do its thing. If mouse X is less than this point here, then I want the red background, right? So if mouse X is greater than or equal to width divided by 2 minus 50, then we want something to happen. So we'll do width divided by 2 minus 50. If mouse X is greater than or equal to width divided by 2 plus 50, which is the radius of the circle, then turn the background red. All right, cool. So if mouse X is, see, I'm clicking. Uh-oh. Oh, instead of putting a comma, I need to put an and. Sorry about that. So here, let's go through it slower. So if mouse X is greater than or equal to width divided by 2 minus 50, so greater than or equal to width divided by 2 minus 50, this, and So it has to be both this and this, not or. If mouse X is greater than, oh, I also put greater than, so I have to put less than. So be careful about the signs that you're using. So if mouse X is less than width divided by 2 plus 50, which is going to be in this range, right? This is all the button range. Then do the thing. So I should be able to click here and click here. And it only works if I click in this area. So now I have to see it works on the height still. I have to do the same thing for height. So I'm just going to do comma, enter, mouse Y is greater than or equal to, so Y is increasing as we go down on the Y-axis. So we'll do if mouse Y is greater than or equal to height divided by 2 minus 50. And mouse Y is less than or equal to height divided by 2 plus 50. So basically the same thing as we did with mouse X, just change it to height. Then, oh, and I did the same thing I did before. I put a comma instead of an and sign. This is my biggest problem with code. Cool. So now we've got this background that does turn red whenever we click. The only problem is it turns red and never turns off again. So we have to create a Boolean to change the background color. So up top, we'll just say let back color red equal false. And here where it turns red, we'll just control X that. And in the draw function, we'll say if back color red, and we don't have to put equals true, but we could. We just can put back color red, then do that. Change the background color to red. If back color red, change the background color to red. And now we can put our little Boolean switch inside of our mouse pressed parameters and say if this button is clicked, then back color red equals not back color red. So the back color red will start out as false. So if we press play, we get white. And then if the mouse is pressed, then the back color red will like switch to true or switch to false or switch to true or switch to false depending on the previous state of it. So whenever it is true, then it'll be red here. So it should work if we, so it turns red and it just doesn't turn off again. I'm just going to put an else statement in my if back color red, then color white, else up here I made the color of white. Cool. So in order to like turn it back, we have to put this white color that we made in the draw function. So it'll start out white like up here, and then we have to like redraw it again in the draw function, so that when we click our blue button, it turns red, and if we click again, it'll turn white. And so we can just keep changing, flipping the switch on and off and on and off and on and off. Okay, so I created 2 icons. You can use PNGs for your icons. which would be probably easier than coding it. But I've got a function check mark and a function X mark. And I want to make my button dynamic so that it starts with the check mark, and every time it's clicked, it switches to X, so I can X out my color or I can check my color. Now, if I'm spending more time on this, I wouldn't use the check and the X mark, but I just wanted to create a really quick demo. So here you can see the function check mark with the X, Y, and size parameters. So I can move it around and change its size. Go back to the function tutorial if you don't know how to create custom functions. And then each point is dependent on that X and that size, and the Y and the size. And then here I could have used lines, but I just decided to use vertices, begin shape, and end shape. And we can see the check mark if we comment out our X mark. Ta-da! It's not perfect, but it will do. And so I'm not closing the shape, but if I did, I could create a little triangle. And then the X mark is here. And I can also change its location and its size. And I'm using 2 lines to create that X, dependent on the size as well. And then these functions can be seen in the draw function. So you have to call your custom functions in order to see them at all. And here is the arguments that I'm making, where I'm placing it and the size. And I can change these if I want. So the first thing we want to do is create a couple of Booleans. Since I have multiple Booleans, I'm going to create a little section for it. And we'll say let X show equal false, because I want it to start not showing. And then we'll do let check show equal true, because I want the first thing that I see to be my check mark. And then here we can just do the if X show, if check show, then draw the check mark. And then for the X, we'll just do if X show, draw that X mark. We can see that it starts with a check, and whenever the background is red, we want that X to show. We can just put in our if back color is red, we'll just say X show is true, and if back color is white, then check show is true. And right now, whenever I click out, we're never getting rid of them, so we have to just make sure that if check show is true, then X show is false, and if X show is true, check show is false. So we're just there we go. We're just switching the Boolean there. So I'm using true and false here because this is like defining exactly when I want it to be true and exactly when I want it to be false. And then I'm using that exclamation point here just to like flip it on and flip it off. So cool, we've got a bit of a dynamic button. Now I just want to do one more thing. Whenever I hover over the mouse here, so if the mouse moves over this area, I want the circle color to change. So I'm gonna do under mouse pressed, mouse moved, and if mouse is moved in this area here, then I want my circle color to change. So here I'll put Control X, C color, so circle color. And at the top I'll let C color. And then here I'll say C color equals color, and paste that red in, or that blue in that I had before. Don't forget to put a function before mouse moved. My bad. Cool. So instead of doing this, all I want to do is change the circle color. So I'll do C color equals, and whatever you want it to be. I think maybe I'll just make it a little bit darker than what it is. So up here where C color, I'll just copy that. And in mouse moved, I'll paste it and just change the brightness value to 50. So now if I move my mouse over the button, it changes to be dark, but then it never changes back. So that's why we're gonna have to go back and create a Boolean. So here we should be getting pretty good at creating Booleans now. We'll just say Control X, and we'll say dark on equal not dark on. So it's really similar to the way that we did the background. And you can name it whatever you want. So if dark on, and this is, I'm putting this in the draw function, paste. So if dark on, change the color to be a little less bright for the circle color, right? If dark on, and then now we have to just come up to the top and create that Boolean, let dark on equal false. So it starts false. So let's see if it works. Okay, so it's still not working. We have to do one more thing. I think we have to create an else statement like we did before with the background color. So we have to change it back if it's false. Original color here in the setup, we'll just Control copy. And same way we did with this back color red, we'll create an else statement. And it's just like flipping back and forth in the way that I want. And I think it's because I use this exclamation point. So we'll just do if mouse moves over this area, then dark on equal true. So a different case scenario, I guess, than this background color. So if it moves over, it's true. And then if it moves outside of this area, it should be false. So else, if else dark on equal false. There we go. Cool. So buttons require a lot of understanding Booleans. If dark on, or if we move in this area here, then dark on will be true, else dark on is false. That's what's happening in the mouse moved function. Now we have to go back up to the draw function to see what it's doing. If dark on is true, make it less bright, else just make it the original color that was in the setup function. So we can put baby blue next to it, We can put dark blue. So comment your script to know what the heck is going on. But this is pretty much it for the day. Just making a dynamic button that, you know, you can hover over and click, and then the icon also changes with it. With this knowledge, hopefully you can go on to making awesome icons and creative little buttons everywhere if you wanted to. And then I also just want to show you one last way to make a button. The last way that we're going to make a button, and I think that this is probably going to give like, it's going to be like an easier way to make a button, but maybe it'll be harder to make more changes or like have more control over the way that it looks. If we go into the P5 reference and we look up createButton, oh shoot. There's this createButton function. So it creates a DOM element. So this is HTML here. The first parameter label is a string that sets the label displayed on the button. The second parameter value is optional. It's a string that sets the button's value. Using HTML to work, like change other things around your interface, you could potentially change like the search bar and just the background behind your canvas, like this area here. You can work with when you use DOM elements. You can change its position. You can just do button.mouse pressed instead of trying to like figure out like where your mouse X and mouse Y are. We'll say let button 1, and in the setup function you'll say button 1 equal create button, and label it with, I'll just put click me for right now, and it just pops up right down here. And then, or actually, you know what? I'm gonna do a little smiley face. Yeah, smiley face button, cool. And then you can like change the location and size. So you say button 1.size is 100. So we made it a little bit bigger. And to change the button 1 position, we'll do position. And I want it in the middle of the canvas for right now. And it's off to the side, so instead of 100, we'll put S for the button size. And we'll just, up at the top, create a global variable of S equals 100. So this will be 100 and 100. And we can say for the position width divided by 2 minus S divided by 2 should center it. And then height divided by 2 minus S divided by 2 should also center it. So this is S divided by 2 is 50. So width divided by 2 minus half of the button size just centers it up. Button 1 dot mouse pressed. So when the button is pressed, we need to just figure out what we want it to do. So we could create a function saying change color. And within the change color, I think we'll just maybe randomize the background color. So we could say back C equals color and use the random function. So random 360, we'll just do random hue between 0 and 360. And then we'll do a random brightness, just the whole range. So if you just put 100, it'll be like from 0 to 100. So saturation, sorry, random saturation from 0 to 100. If you want it to be like within a certain range, you could do 50, 100. And then for the brightness, we'll just do like 50 to 100 as well. And close it up with a parentheses. So this is randomizing the background color. That's back C. So here we'll just put back C and create a global variable called back C, and let's make it white in the beginning. So this is its original color, and if the mouse is pressed, we want it to change color, and the change color will just be a random hue, saturation, and brightness. So within the button one.mouse pressed, we just call the function change color, and it's that simple. So now whenever the button is pressed, boom, 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 it changes color. So that's pretty neat. So I just want y'all to know that this does exist, and you can make like a frowny face with the button that does something else. But I think you're gonna have more control creating buttons the other way that I showed you how to do it. But this is neat, and I hope you learned something or this helped you out a little bit. I will see you later, and happy coding.